The Life of John Ryde, the Apostle of Berkshire, by Thomas Russell. John Ryde and Thomas Russell were two evangelists who were largely responsible for bringing the primitive Methodist revival movement to the area where I grew up and was converted. This is the story of John Ryde's conversion. John's natural bias was obstinacy, and though he was sent to school, his aversion to learning was a bar to progress. His father's second marriage did not please him, and for the sake of peace, he was sent away to live with a married sister. But his conduct was so trying that he had to leave here also. Before reaching his 20th year, he had been in several situations, remaining nowhere for any length. Returning to his sister's home in 1811 with the intention of spending Christmas, he was surprised as he reached the house to find the family singing the hymn, "The Lord's into his garden come." This was entirely new to him, but being pleased with the tune, he begged them to sing the hymn over again. At this early period of his life, he suffered but little remorse of conscience. Once only, on giving way to ungovernable passion, did the monitor within keenly accuse him. "Yet I was," he writes, "but a sample of the multitude, for ignorance and darkness abounded." The Lord, however, was providing for an extension of his work among the multitudes, who were as sheep without a shepherd, by the raising up of the camp meeting cause. Mr. Bourne, at the request of a relative who had attended the Ramsor and Wootton camp meetings, was induced to visit Mercaston and Turnditch, a distance of 40 miles from his home, and other places beyond. This visit, being blessed by God, was followed by other visits from James Bourne of Bemersley, Thomas Cotton of Mow, and John Benton of Cannock Wood. It was under the word preached by the latter that John Ryde was convinced. He at once forsook his old companions and manifested a fear of God, but for some time continued to groan under the burden of guilt until, to use his own words, returning home from class, that would be a primitive Methodist class meeting, returning home from class one Sunday morning, I felt as though my distress was unbearable, and I knelt down in a field of my father's, though it was very cold and much snow was upon the ground. I there wrestled and prayed until I thought I heard a voice speaking, "Thy sins, which are many, are all forgiven thee." I looked around to see who spoke, but no human being was to be seen. Such love, joy, and glory filled my soul that I knew not how better to express my gratitude to God than by taking my hat up from the ground and throwing it into the air. I shouted, "Glory to God! He has pardoned all my sins." My father, hearing the noise, came out to see what was the matter, and when he beheld me leaping and shouting and throwing up my hat, he cried out, "The Methodists have driven my poor boy mad." But thank God, I was just come into my right mind.